When you live with anxiety and pay a lot of attention to that negative inner voice, it's as though you become a temporarily worse version of yourself. You become smaller, more fearful, doubtful, pessimistic. A less confident, less creative, and less resilient version of yourself. The Batman effect is basically the reverse of this. It's an attempt to not only counter your brain's own bias against you, but replace it with something that will actually work for you. The term comes from the fictional character Bruce Wayne's constant struggle to overcome problems as a normal person. He has his normal version of himself, but then he's also Batman, who is capable of so much more. Studies have shown that when children pretend to be a competent and powerful character they know from film or TV, they persevere with boring tasks far longer, and they actually perform better than if they had simply tackled the tasks as themselves. This is a pretty big deal. By putting themselves in the shoes of someone who is not fearful, unconfident, or incapable, it's as though the children learn to literally see the world from that perspective. Problems are easier to solve, and obstacles easier to deal with. The Batman effect shows us the power of gaining psychological distance from our own limited ideas of who we are and what we are capable of. A 2016 study at the University of Minnesota showed how self-distance, or looking at your own situation from the point of view of an outsider, can increase persistence and resilience. In the study, children of 4 and 6 years old were given a task and asked to repeat it over and over for 10 minutes. If they couldn't go on, they were offered a break and a game. When the kids took on the perspective of a superhero like Batman, they took fewer breaks and pressed on even when the task got challenging or repetitive. They took more breaks when they took a first-person point of view, i.e., acted as themselves. Now, this may seem like a bit of a gimmick. Can you really reduce your anxiety levels just by pretending you're a character who isn't anxious? It turns out the strategy of adopting an alter ego is actually a perfect way to gain some distance from strong emotions and look at a situation more objectively. Rachel White, an assistant professor of psychology at Hamilton College in New York State, says that putting distance between ourselves and a challenging situation helps us think more clearly about it. It could be as simple as asking yourself, what would Batman do? She says it's a great idea to choose a different alter ego for different goals or challenges. She claims, when I was a postdoc, we had a little saying in our lab that if you're an undergrad, pretend to be a grad student. If you're a grad student, pretend to be a postdoc. If you're a postdoc, pretend to be the leader of the lab, just to get you to that next level. This may be far more effective than robotically writing down affirmations or saying ready-made affirmations. Instead, why not have a morning ritual where you try on your alter ego's perspective? Have a piece of jewelry or a lucky pair of socks that you pick for days you know will be challenging. Make the connection internally that when you wear these things, it's the same as a superhero putting on their cape. How to create a non-anxious alter ego. The idea is to identify or create from scratch a persona that possesses the characteristics and traits that you're trying to develop in yourself. If you're anxious, this is likely someone who's calm, self-possessed, in control, confident, hopeful, self-assured, relaxed, positive, and trusting. If you have a few favorite cognitive distortions, you could begin with those and ask, what kind of person does the opposite? If you have a habit of all or nothing thinking, for example, who can you think of, in real life or fiction, that is a master of nuanced, subtle thought? You can pick someone you literally know, or a famous role model from history. Alternatively, you could construct an alter ego from scratch. Beyonce explains how she created an alter ego to help her perform on stage. Her name is Sasha Fierce, and she allows the singer to tap into overflowing energy, confidence, and power. Usually when I hear the chords, when I put on my stilettos, like the moment right before when you're nervous, then Sasha Fierce appears, and my posture and the way I speak and everything is different, she told Oprah in an interview in 2008. Spend some time really fleshing out your alter ego. They should be more than just an image in your mind, but a full person with their own personality, thought processes, and ways of doing things. You might like to blend a few fictional characters or famous people together, or lean heavily on more primal archetypes like a warrior, a queen, or a sagely magician. You can even borrow from myth and religion and decide that your uber-calm alter ego is a blend of a serene bodhisattva, Mother Teresa, and a dragon that lives at the top of a mystical mountain. Take your time conjuring the image of this alter ego in your imagination. What are they wearing? What is their facial expression, and how do they walk? What's their tone of voice, and what are they saying? What actions are they taking, and how do others respond? Going deeper, what does this alter ego care about? If they had a motto or a catchphrase, what would it be? Think of a suitable name for them, or perhaps even associate them with a few symbols or related images. You might like to get creative with the name. For example, Queen Sheba the Great, or Master X, overcomer of all obstacles. The reason you're going to all this effort is because when it comes to the heat of the moment, you need to be able to know exactly how your character would act. This is not pure fantasy. You're trying to find a way to bring this alter ego to life with real-world action. What would they do? What would they say? What aspects of the situation would they focus on? Commit to doing, saying, and focusing on the same things. When you're mired in a stressful situation, all your old thought patterns may kick off automatically, and you may get quickly overwhelmed in negative emotions, but that's you. What about your alter ego? Call on them for help. It's easy for you to imagine that they are outside your situation and not overwhelmed by whatever is overwhelming you. If this feels tricky, ask instead what they might tell you if they were giving you advice. Imagine a conversation with them and picture them saying all the right things necessary to get you out of your predicament. What do they say? In this way, you leverage yourself out of a tricky situation and give yourself the chance to look at things through someone else's eyes. When we're trapped in anxiety, it can feel like an impossibility to see out of it. But then, with this technique, you don't have to see out of it at all. You just have to imagine someone who could. Clever, isn't it? Another related study asked participants to give themselves encouraging advice in second-person voice. For example, you will focus on every question. This improved their performance on a task when compared to those who used first person. I will do my best. This goes to show that it's not the alter ego per se, but the psychological distance that's helping. So instead of saying to yourself, what am I going to do? You could say, you will find a way out of this, don't worry. This simple change in language alone is enough to give you a little space. A final study led by Professor of Psychology Ethan Kross at the University of Michigan shows that even small perceptive shifts can make a big impact. The experiment had participants thinking about an upcoming challenge in their future. For example, an exam. One group was asked to think about the event by immersing themselves completely in it, while the other group was asked to think about it in a distanced way, imagining they were on the outside and looking in. The differences were impressive. Those who saw the whole thing as though they were a fly on the wall felt far less anxiety and also rated themselves as more competent at dealing with the perceived challenge. They ended up adopting healthier coping mechanisms and finding more proactive solutions. Try this for yourself. Simply change your inner talk from first to third person. For example, John is feeling unsure about instead of, I feel unsure. Rather than saying, I feel terrified, you might say, there's a feeling of fear at the moment, and remove yourself from the equation entirely. By adding right now or at the moment, you are similarly putting time limits on a situation, showing that the situation is not permanent and all-encompassing. Learn what your alter ego has to teach you. Your alter ego is not just a great way to get around anxiety. It can be used any time you feel like your ordinary ways of looking at things are limiting you. Why not combine your alter ego with that little voice inside that challenges assumptions and asks for evidence? Your ego may say, you can't do that. What will people think? But your alter ego says, who says that what they think matters? What do you think? Your ego may jump in with, don't do it, you'll fail, make a fool of yourself. Your alter ego won't let you get away with it and says, who says you'll fail? I'm curious. It looks fun. Let's do it. Your ego may say, this is really bad. But your alter ego says, nah, it's nothing I can't handle. Interestingly, Beyonce now claims she no longer needs Sasha Fierce and that she stopped calling on her help around 2010. Incidentally, a year later, the singer Adele claimed she created her own alter ego called Sasha Carter, a blend of Sasha Fierce and singer June Carter. What we can conclude from this is that over time, Beyonce really became Sasha Fierce. The alter ego was a psychological crutch, but once she learned those skills, the alter ego was no longer necessary. The same thing may happen with you. By repeatedly asking yourself what your non-anxious alter ego would do, it starts to become automatic. Eventually, what they would do and what you would do are the same. This has been Rewire Your Anxious Brain. Stop overthinking, find calm, and be present. Written by Nick Trenton, narrated by Russell Newton. Copyright 2023 by Nick Trenton. Production copyright by Nick Trenton.